Ladies and gentlemen, the United States are and will remain partners and allies for Europe and for Austria. At the same time, we have witnessed in recent months that the United States wants to shape its policy, and thus also its relationship with Europe in a different way than has been the case so far. We are currently seeing this particularly clearly in Greenland, and I would like to make some points very clear about this. Greenland is an autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark, and we are and remain here in solidarity with Denmark and also with Greenland, because sovereignty and territorial integrity must be respected without exception and by all. And all the threats that have been made here, or that are understood as threats, are not acceptable. What is crucial for the future of Greenland is how the population in Greenland, like Denmark, makes decisions. It is there to find out how to deal with this issue, and I therefore find it very important that the talks between Greenland, Denmark and the United States not only take place, but are also carried out and lead to an escalation that can be avoided, because this may not be in the interest of any of the participants. Thank you for this question. It is true that the developments in Greenland are deeply worrying. We see that there may be a conflict here that has not yet arisen in the way you mentioned.
We are meeting, as we've just heard also from the Chancellor, at a time of growing international uncertainty from Iran to Ukraine. Europeans are looking to the European Union for stability and security in every sense, economic, social and geopolitical. In that regard, I would like to make 3 points. First, a few words on what is happening in Iran. We are appalled by the deadly force used by the Iranian regime against the brave Iranians marching in the street for their liberties and for their rights. This must stop, and at a European Union level we must step up our action. That's why we have been calling for tougher sanctions that include finally listing the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization. Parliament has demanded this for a long time. As a parliament, we have already acted and banned Iranian diplomatic staff from our premises. We did this week, and we did it because this sends a clear message that our House of Democracy will not be used to aid the legitimization of a regime that uses abuse and violence to stay in power. It is high time for freedom in Iran.
And I hope that we can avoid it in this way. There is a regulatory framework that you mentioned. On the one hand, there is Article 7 of Article 42, which regulates the obligation to support the member states of the European Union in such cases, possibly in such cases that you mention. At the same time, we have the so-called Irish clause for the 4 neutral states in the European Union, a regulation that you can make this contribution in the context of the obligation to support the member states according to your legal decisions. That means if it should come to that, and I say again, I hope very much that it will not come to that, then we will deal with the issue in this way.
Das heißt, wenn es so weit kommen sollte, und ich sage noch einmal, ich hoffe sehr, dass es dazu nicht kommt, dann werden wir uns in dieser Weise mit der Frage auseinandersetzen.
As you can imagine, this is quite high on our agenda, but I'd like to quote the Prime Minister of Greenland, who put it quite clearly a day before the discussions took place in Washington, that if Greenland had to choose between the US and Denmark, they would choose Denmark and the EU. And this is something that we take with us in expressing our solidarity, in making clear our principles of territorial integrity and sovereignty. At the end of this, and we are in the hands, of course, of Denmark and Greenland, is that we keep calm, we keep rational, and we keep pragmatic, basing everything on the principle of nothing about Greenland without Greenland or Denmark. The legalities of the article, as you mentioned, are of course part of the discussion. We heard what members of the European Commission have been saying, and we'll have to see if this would apply and how it would to a territory that is part of an EU member state but is not part of the European Union. So.